When we talk about the twin flame journey, there's often so much focus on the emotional chaos, the running and chasing, the separation phases that feel like they might break us. But today I want to shift our attention to something that doesn't get talked about enough. What actually makes the divine masculine in this connection feel that deep soul level devotion to his counterpart? See, the divine masculine in a twin flame dynamic isn't just any regular guy you'd meet at a coffee shop or swipe right on. This is someone whose soul has been connected to yours across lifetimes. And while the feminine often awakens first to the spiritual nature of the connection, the masculine has his own journey. His path to devotion looks different. It's not about grand gestures or constant communication. It's about something much deeper, much more fundamental to who he is at his core. The thing is, the divine masculine operates from a different energy. Where the feminine flows and feels, the masculine builds and protects. Where the feminine intuits, the masculine reasons. And understanding what triggers his devotion means understanding how his energy works. It means recognizing that his love language might not look like what we've been taught to expect. Today, we're going to uncover 7 rare qualities that genuinely trigger deep devotion in the divine masculine. These aren't manipulation tactics or ways to trick someone into loving you. These are authentic qualities that resonate with the masculine soul at such a profound level that devotion becomes inevitable. And here's the beautiful part. Developing these qualities doesn't just attract his devotion. They transform you into the highest version of yourself. So let's dive in. 1. Unwavering self-respect that doesn't need validation. The first quality that triggers something deep in the divine masculine is when you carry yourself with self-respect that isn't dependent on his approval or anyone else's. This isn't about playing hard to get or pretending you don't care. It's about genuinely knowing your worth at such a core level that you don't need constant reassurance. Think about it. The masculine energy is naturally drawn to strength, but not the kind that's loud or aggressive. It's drawn to quiet confidence. When you respect yourself enough to have boundaries, to walk away from disrespect, to not tolerate breadcrumbs of attention, something in him recognizes that you're different. You're not someone who will lose yourself in the connection. You're not someone who will abandon your own values just to keep him around. This quality shows him that you're whole on your own. And paradoxically, that's what makes him want to be part of your life even more. The divine masculine has often been with women who needed him to complete them, who made him responsible for their happiness. That's exhausting. But when he encounters someone who is already complete, who chooses him rather than needs him, it touches something deeper. It makes him want to earn your continued choice every single day. This self-respect also means you don't engage in games or manipulation. You don't punish him with silence or try to make him jealous. You communicate directly. You're honest about your feelings without being desperate. And this authenticity, this refusal to usual relationship games, makes him feel safe. It makes him feel like he can be himself too. And safety is where devotion grows. Number 2, the ability to give him space without making it mean something negative. Here's where a lot of divine feminines struggle. The masculine needs space differently than the feminine does. For him, space isn't rejection. It's not distance. It's how he processes, how he thinks, how he reconnects with himself. And when you can give him that space without spiraling into fear or creating drama around it, you become someone he feels he can breathe with. Most women, when a man pulls back even slightly, immediately think something's wrong. They start questioning the relationship, sending long messages, demanding reassurance. And while that comes from a place of fear and insecurity, it pushes the masculine further away. Because now he's not just dealing with his own stuff, he's also having to manage your emotional reactions to him dealing with his own stuff. But when you understand that his need for space has nothing to do with his love for you, everything changes. When he retreats into his cave, as they say, and you don't chase him in there with a flashlight and 100 questions, he notices. When you use that time to focus on yourself, to pursue your own interests, to enjoy your own life, he sees that you trust him. You trust the connection. You're not controlled by fear. This doesn't mean you ignore your needs or pretend you don't want connection. It means you're secure enough in yourself that his rhythms don't throw you off balance. You understand that he'll come back. And he always does come back stronger, more present, more devoted, because being with you doesn't feel like drowning. It feels like freedom. Up 3, genuine passion for your own life and purpose. Nothing, and I mean nothing, triggers devotion in the divine masculine like a woman who has her own fire burning. Not a fire that's lit by him or dependent on him, but one that burns from within. When you're passionate about your own life, your own goals, your own purpose, you become magnetic in a way that no amount of physical beauty or relationship skills can replicate. The divine masculine wants to be inspired. He wants a partner who challenges him to grow, who shows him what's possible when someone commits to their own evolution. When you're out there building something, creating something, passionate about your work or your art or your mission, he sees someone worth standing beside. He sees someone who won't make him her entire world, which, ironically, makes him want to be a bigger part of your world. This passion also takes pressure off the relationship. When your happiness isn't solely dependent on how things are going with him, the whole dynamic becomes lighter. There's no neediness, no clinginess, no suffocating energy. You're two whole people choosing to walk together, not two half people trying to become whole through each other. And here's what happens. When he sees you thriving, when he sees you excited about your life, something in him wants to support that. The masculine loves to support, to provide, to champion, but only when it feels like he's adding to something already beautiful, not trying to fill a void. Your passion becomes the invitation for his devotion. 4, emotional maturity. That doesn't make him wrong for being different. This one is huge. The divine masculine is devoted to a woman who has done her emotional work, someone who doesn't expect him to think, feel, or process the way she does. Someone who doesn't make his masculine way of being wrong or broken just because it's different from her feminine way. Emotional maturity means you can feel your feelings without making them his responsibility. You can be upset without blaming him for your upset. You can communicate your needs without attacking his character. You can disagree without making it a catastrophe. This level of emotional regulation is rare, and when the masculine encounters it, he recognizes that this is someone he can actually build with. See, many men have been in relationships where they felt like they could never do anything right, where their natural masculine traits were constantly criticized, where they were expected to be more emotional, more verbal, more expressive in ways that didn't feel authentic to them. That creates resentment and distance. But when you accept him as he is, when you appreciate his masculine qualities instead of trying to feminize him, he can finally relax. He can be himself. This doesn't mean you tolerate bad behavior or don't express your needs. It means you do it from a place of maturity rather than reactivity. You recognize that he's on his own journey. You don't take his stuff personally. You give him grace when he's figuring things out, just as you'd want grace when you're figuring things out. This creates a safe container for real intimacy and lasting devotion. 5, the courage to be vulnerable without being weak. There's a difference between vulnerability and emotional dumping. There's a difference between sharing your heart and making every conversation heavy. The divine masculine is deeply devoted to a woman who has the courage to be real, to share her fears and dreams and struggles, but who does it from a place of strength rather than victimhood. When you can say, "I'm scared," without falling apart. When you can admit, "I don't have it all figured out," without making it a crisis. When you can share your deeper self without needing him to fix you, that's the kind of vulnerability that draws him closer. It lets him see the real you. And the real you is what he fell in love with at the soul level. Many women think vulnerability means being an open wound. They think it means sharing every single feeling the moment they have it. But that's not vulnerability. That's a lack of boundaries. Real vulnerability is selective. It's intentional. It's sharing yourself with someone you trust in moments that deepen connection without overwhelming the relationship with constant emotional intensity. The masculine wants to protect and support, but he wants to support someone who's also supporting themselves. When your vulnerability is balanced with your strength, when you can be soft without being fragile, it creates a dynamic where he feels needed but not burdened, and that's where devotion flourishes. 6, playfulness and joy that lightens his load. The divine masculine carries a lot. He carries the weight of providing, protecting, and building. Even if he doesn't talk about it, there's a heaviness to the masculine journey. And when he finds a woman who brings lightness, joy, and playfulness into his life, it's like finding water in the desert. This doesn't mean you have to be happy all the time or fake positivity. It means you haven't lost your ability to laugh, to be silly, to find joy in simple things. It means you don't make everything serious and heavy. You can have deep conversations, but you can also just enjoy each other. You can be spiritual without being somber. You can be on a journey without making it feel like work every single day. When you bring this lightness, the masculine associates you with joy rather than stress. He wants to come home to you. He wants to spend time with you because being with you lifts him up rather than weighs him down. And that feeling, that association of you with happiness and peace, that's what builds devotion that lasts. 7. Faith in the journey that steadies you both. Finally, the quality that might be the most powerful of all is your faith. Not just faith in him, though that matters. Not just faith in the connection, though that's important too. But faith in something bigger. Faith in the universe, in the divine timing, in the purpose of the journey itself. The twin flame path is not easy. There are separations and challenges and dark nights of the soul. When the divine masculine sees that you have faith that steadies you through all of it, that you're not falling apart every time things get difficult, that you trust in the bigger picture, it gives him permission to trust too. Your faith becomes a lighthouse that guides you both. This faith means you're not desperate. You're not trying to force timelines or outcomes. You're not panicking every time things don't go according to your plan. You understand that everything is unfolding as it should, and that surrender, that trust, that deep knowing that what's meant for you will be yours. That's the energy that allows devotion to deepen naturally. These qualities, taken together, create a woman who is truly in her divine feminine power. And that power is what the divine masculine cannot help but devote himself to. Not because you're perfect, but because you're real. Not because you never struggle, but because you don't let struggle define you. Not because the journey is easy, but because you walk it with grace. So here's the truth. You can't force devotion. You can't manipulate someone into loving you the way you want to be loved. But you can become the kind of person who naturally inspires it. These qualities aren't just about attracting your twin flame's devotion. They're about becoming who you were always meant to be. And sometimes that's the whole point of this journey. Not just union with another soul, but union with yourself first. When you embody these qualities, you're not sitting around waiting for him to show up and complete you. You're not checking your phone every 5 minutes or analyzing his every move. You're living your life fully. You're growing, evolving, and becoming more of yourself every single day. And that completeness, that wholeness within yourself, is what makes true devotion possible. The beautiful irony is that the moment you stop needing his devotion to feel worthy is often the moment his devotion naturally flows toward you. Because you've stopped being a half looking for another half. You've become a whole person, inviting another whole person into something even bigger than both of you. That's when the magic really happens. That's when devotion stops being something you chase and becomes something you simply are worthy of receiving.